Welcome to the Tomorrow Zone Catalyst podcast. I'm your host, Deborah Rubin. Today, I am sharing the replay of my virtual book launch party. So exciting. Yes, we are celebrating the official launch of my book, Enter the Tomorrow Zone: How to Inspire Breakthrough Innovation and Shape Your Future. Let's listen in.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome. It is such a pleasure to be here gathering for this incredible celebration of Deb's book. I'm Robbie Samuels. I've had the good fortune of working alongside Deb and her team around the launch of this. And finally, Deb, it is here. We're able to announce it to the world. You've had such a successful launch. And I know that so many people are here, both in the room and watching the replay, wanting to hear about it and celebrate this with you. And I can't wait to see what comes next. For those who are here in the room, a couple of quick tips. If you do have a question for Deb, you can ask it in chat, but just so we don't miss it, can you please write the word question in all caps before whatever your question is, and I'll keep track of those. There will be time for some Q&A at the end of the program. We're going to be here for a little over an hour. We're going to get to all the good stuff in that first hour, so if you have to go, no problems, and you, of course, can always watch the replay if you can't stay here the whole time. If you can use captions to better stay engaged, you can always turn those on. And of course, as was just demonstrated, you can use the emojis to share your enthusiasm and encouragement. You'll find those under React. Please now, actually, as I invite Deb to the stage, go ahead, share some hearts, some love. And now let me invite Deb up. Welcome, Deb.
Thanks, Robbie. Oh my gosh, so awesome to finally get to this day. It's real. I can't stop smiling. Smiling's my favorite. So I was doing a little reflection this week, and I asked myself, a question: what surprised me most about this launch and this whole journey, this whole book process? And it wasn't the metrics, it wasn't the sales, it wasn't achieving Amazon bestseller status, which we did thanks to you, just a couple days after this thing went live. But really, it was something more meaningful than that. I spent a lot of time in the world of AI and technology, but this is something we can't automate, and that's human connection. It's trust that we've built over the years, and that's more important now than ever in a world that feels like it's just accelerating toward artificial everything. And so that's what moved me most, through client sessions, whiteboards, workshops, industry conversations, collaborations, hard questions, shared wins. That trust showed up so much over and over and over again. And I was so blessed to see more than 90 people step forward and sign up to be a part of our pre-launch team. And people participated in so many different ways. We had 46 members of our launch team joined me for a private training session on themes from the book. And we had 93% attendance, which is pretty awesome for a virtual meeting. And even those who weren't able to make it because of other commitments reached out personally and caught the replay and have, been sharing how they're applying what they're learning from this. And through your committed effort, we officially launched the book yesterday. And last time I checked, there were 42 written reviews on Amazon. So thank you so much for taking time to do that. That's really going to help this message get to the leaders who need it most. So people are really helping to get the word out in so many different ways. I've been seeing LinkedIn posts and photos of people showing me their copy of the book, and friends who've sent emails to their lists to let people know about it. We've had bulk orders coming in from leaders who want to bring this thinking into their organizations and their leadership teams. So thank you for that. It's just been such a wild and exciting ride. And what this really represents to me is just something that's been on my heart for a really long time. And I'm seeing genuine community and curiosity and co-creation in action. Every review, every share, every conversation has helped carry this message forward, but it also really reaffirmed what I believe, that it's not technology that transforms, it's people. And the need for digital transformation isn't slowing down. We know that. We're in a moment of time that calls for really clear thinking about how we do it. And leaders have such a great opportunity right now to design innovation with intention and to align their people before they're committing to take action and to expand how they're thinking about what's possible so that we don't accidentally keep rebuilding the past. I think that the future that we shape is going to be made by the decisions that we make right now. And I want to just pause and acknowledge something personal. It's so wonderful to see all of you here. And I just want to thank, Tomorrow Zone's Team Awesome. Thank you for all of your help during this process. Industry colleagues, clients, partners, collaborators, friends, and especially my family. It means more than you know. For many people in my family, and you may be catching this on the replay, you may be here with me live. I can't see you right now. But for many in my family, my work has been a bit of a mystery. It probably felt abstract. We know that she travels a lot. There's big conversations about strategy and innovation, and somehow sticky notes are involved. This book is the clearest expression of what I've been building all these years and why. And I just want to acknowledge my husband, Corey Rubin, Mr. Incredible himself. Thank you for spotlighting him. There he is. Hey, handsome. He jokes all the time that he taught me everything I know about business. But the truth is, he's taught me more about life than he may realize. And babe, I just want to thank you for... I knew this was going to happen. Thank you for believing in me and supporting me in building something that wasn't always very easy for me to explain. I finally have the words for it, but I'm here because you have supported me so well in all of these crazy things that I do. So thank you.
You're welcome.
So this is a book launch party, and it's also just a signal that, in a world of so much AI hype, trust still matters, connection still matters, curiosity still matters, and innovation can be human. And I'm so grateful that we're doing this together. Thank you so much for being here. Robbie, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Ah, that was beautiful. I'm so glad that that was the most special moment. And I've been doing this for a while. That was awesome to bring him up because, our family members love us, but they don't always know what we're doing. They're hoping we have a big impact because of all the time we're spending. So this is wonderful that you're able to finally have ways to describe that work. So speaking of describing your work, I just wanted to take some time, do a little quick interview with you, get a better sense of why this book, why you, what should people take away from it? It's a major undertaking to say, yeah, I'm going to write a book. So what was the inspiration behind making what your team will admit is a major, major effort? And thank you again to Team Awesome. Yeah, what led you to decide this is something you need to do that would be a good message?
It's been on my heart for a long time to write a book, and this really was born from my insatiable curiosity, but also from a lot of pattern recognition over the years. I've experienced the challenges that can happen when you're trying to bring something new into the world, when you're trying to do something that you've never done before, which is usually the case when we're looking at innovation and digital transformation. And the first time that I experienced that personally, I thought it was a one-off. But then as I continued to do my work, I kept seeing the same anti-patterns holding back innovation and digital transformation. I kept seeing them over and over again. I saw smart leaders with big budgets, strong intent, great technology, and the same predictable breakdowns. People kept getting caught up in the same traps over and over again. Tech-first decisions, misalignment in the cross-functional leadership team, skipping diagnosis and going straight to solution first. rushing into execution before they really had shared clarity. And, even though I experienced it myself early in my career, over the years, I began to see very clearly that this isn't an isolated experience. And back in the day, it was around 2017, I started outlining what I thought would be my book, and I was going to call it "Let's Save Your Project Before It Starts." And I've been involved in a lot of project rescues and helping teams like to rejigger and reset. How can we do it right? But I realized that, actually my work isn't about rescuing projects. It's about improving how leaders think and decide and invest, especially under uncertainty, and helping them to shape the future with intention instead of just reacting to hype. And so this year, last year, actually, it's 2026 now. Oh my gosh, already. So last year I started in January to really think through this, but by June I knew I needed to get this into the world, and I committed wholeheartedly and invested and brought on a team to help me get this done and get this into the world. And so that's the story.
And we're so glad you did it. There are other books about leading transformation, but yours is positioned in a really different way. I'd love you to speak a little bit to what makes your book unique in this space. What are you doing differently?
Well, a lot of transformation conversations and books focus a lot on execution, and a lot of material on innovation tends to focus on the tech. I kind of go opposite. And this book really focuses on readiness, future readiness. It's not about predicting the future. It's about being ready for the future possibilities that you see. It's about getting really honest about what readiness means. And the thing that I have learned from all of the lived experience is that technology will actually amplify whatever clarity and whatever alignment already exists. So if leadership alignment is weak, technology is going to accelerate confusion and complexity. But if clarity is strong, technology will actually be an accelerator of progress and something that enables you to shape the future you want to see. And so the Tomorrow Zone approach kind of flips the sequence: diagnosis before prescription, alignment before investment, innovation as a capability, not an event. And so this is really about how we think about how we do innovation and creating that operating system for innovation, not just managing a change initiative, but giving yourself the ability to continue to evolve and shape the future.
Imagine that all kinds of organizations, for profit, nonprofit, side budgets could benefit. But do you have a particular type of business leader in mind as you're writing this? Like who would really benefit the most from you?
You're sounding a little bit fuzzy, but you're asking who is this book really for? Ultimately, as I was writing this, who I had in mind was CEOs, CIOs, innovation leaders who are making really significant decisions and facing uncertainty. It's for those leaders who know that technology is necessary. Like, they've got the message. I don't think we have to convince people anymore that there's a need to innovate and there's a need to adopt technology. But they also know that technology alone isn't sufficient to create that future they want to see. And so for those leaders who really want their organization to move forward with confidence and not confusion, they're thinking about the long term, even as they're taking short term action. And often these leaders have responsibility for legacy level decisions. I mean, the type of work that we're doing together, you shouldn't have to repeat it, until maybe 10, 15 years. And so getting that foundation right, that's where we focus. And so this is really for leaders who want transformation that sticks. If you're fearing irrelevance and the real pressure to do something fast, this is an invitation to pause and consider before you do that.
You've shared conceptually. Is there a takeaway or two that you could give to us? A little nugget?
Yeah, I mean, the real nugget is if you don't take anything else from this, clarity first, then technology, because technology is going to amplify your decisions, but it doesn't replace judgment. And the other thing is that getting your team aligned, that's not just a kickoff activity that you check off a box. It's an ongoing and active leadership discipline. We need to get clarity and get alignment, and then we need to sustain it over time. And when leaders do invest in creating that shared clarity and shared understanding in their team, then innovation becomes intentional instead of reactive, and you're going to increase for your team judgment quality under uncertainty, which is really going to help strengthen your team as they go through the real messy middle that happens in every one of these initiatives.
As you were building this book, you also created a guide. So could you share a little bit about other resources that you have created to help people implement the strategies that are in this book?
Yeah, so there are bonuses that you can access. So if you have the book, you can hit the QR code and download the bonus materials. And those are things that can help you to really think about what this means for your particular situation. And then I also have a tool. If you go to enterthetomorrowzone.com, I've created a guide. Chapter 1 is really where you start. And so it's a guide to think through for yourself, for your context, your team, your situation, to think through how you would apply these things. The book is really kind of opening the door for you to think differently as an innovation leader. And at the end of the day, I've realized that, this really comes down to improving the way that we're making decisions about innovation as we're going through it. And so for leaders who want to go deeper, our focus is to help you to really validate your readiness rather than assuming readiness before major commitments and major technology investments. And that early upfront work really becomes like a guidance system that helps you to navigate really well as complexity and uncertainty increases along the way. And so for leaders who want to go deeper, that is our focus at Tomorrow Zone, is helping you to design those conditions where innovation can succeed. And sometimes that might look like a keynote or an executive strategy intensive that can help spark new thinking. Sometimes it's breaking down silos and getting current state clarity and aligning your cross-functional team through something like our Catalyst Sprint engagement. And sometimes it's advisory guidance to the executive team during high stakes initiatives to help you navigate and continue to make great decisions. Whatever we do, the goal is really consistent. It's about strengthening judgment quality under uncertainty, getting and sustaining clear and real alignment among your cross-functional leaders, and intentionally architecting innovation so that we're shaping the future rather than just reacting to hype and pressure.
I love this. In my world, I call this strategy over vanity.
Oh, I like that.
In the world of books. But it's the same idea. Like, don't rush to produce, to buy tech, to build out, like that upfront time. It feels intangible to so many people, but like doing that work, it saves time. It eases tensions. It gets everyone on the same page, rowing in the same direction, whatever metaphor you want to use.
Yeah.
This is such a great tool. I was so pleased to be part of this project just so I can help amplify it in the world. You have 3 amazing guests here today to also help talk about the work that you do in the world. Could you be kind enough to now introduce your first guest?
Yeah, I would love to. So my first guest is Brian Dundon. Brian is a client. He is CEO and founder of Broadleaf Financial Group. And he's here because he's actually living this work. He's living the shifts that I talk about in my book. He is currently leading a startup with major system implementations going on, and he's doing it with strategic clarity, alignment, and zero drama. I love the work he's doing and the way he's leading his team. Brian, I would love to invite you to the stage to share.
Oh, thanks, Deb. I really appreciate that. And, just owe you a lot of I have a lot of gratitude for you here because you're a current advisor to our team, but also more so, when I was doing the fundraising process and just living a life of uncertainty about how we're going to do this and is it really possible, you were consistently at providing advice and counsel and wrangling my brain, if you will, to help really unlock, as you like to talk about, the art of the possible with this. And so, from myself and my team, we have just a lot of gratitude to you for what we're building and for what you've been providing for us. I was thinking about this over the last week about when we first met, and it was actually less than 4 years ago. You hosted a workshop for Stripes when I was participating in that. And that was when I started to, two things happened. First, you introduced me to Mural, which is now a daily part of my life. So thank you for that. But it was also about changing the way, I think about the world and how we can build and design and develop our teams and really, changing my mindset about strategy in technology and turning it into, what we're doing today, which I think is, we build people first and systems first around those people and the structure. And as myself and my colleagues always say, we're just always in like the surprise prevention business when it comes to building technology and our processes and everything. But I met you 4 years ago in Stripes, and then when we had a fire that needed to be put out at my last company, we called you up. You came in and helped us there, and helping us develop our strategy and fundraising for this platform, and now being an advisor to this platform as we're building it and building what I think is hopefully a fairly innovative company for the fair equipment leasing space. We owe a lot to you, to Jenica, to the entire Tomorrow Zone team for what you guys have provided for us and how we can continue to iterate and develop forward. And I'll say also just, I do want to thank your husband as well, because you spent a lot of time with our team. And I don't think, I think that he probably carries a lot for you as well. So just, I know you were thinking that, but something that was really important to us. And we're very grateful for the work you've put in with us to help develop the leasing company tomorrow. And I think that's something that we'll be grateful for very, very, very long time. So that's my spiel.
Wow. Brian, thank you so much. And I have to say, it has been a joy working with you and your team. And I definitely believe we have that mindset match that makes this work so well. Thanks for the shout out to my husband too. That means a lot. I appreciate that. My next speaker is a longtime collaborator and friend from the equipment finance industry. Tanya Stone is the VP of Enterprise Strategic Technology at Great America Financial. And she really lives inside of the complexity that this book is written for, where strategy, technology, and people have to work together. And I've said it before. I've said it from stages. I think she has one of the most interesting jobs in the world, if you have to be an employee, because she's always out there with her customers, and she's definitely not tech first. She's always been all about people first and then technology. And I think that's why she's so successful. Plus, when I mentioned last year that I was writing a book, Tanya lit up and she said, I want to be your biggest promoter. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we have to try to harness this. So I want to welcome you to the stage. I thank you so much for your enthusiasm and support around this project. And I can't wait to share you.
Awesome. I just want to tell you first how honored I am that you asked me to be part of this. When I look back, I was trying to think, when did we probably meet? And it was about 15 years ago. And I was actually relatively new to the equipment finance industry. And I had gone to the ELFA Ops and Tech Conference, and you were the chair at the time. And I could tell just sitting in those sessions that there was just something special about you. And so the conference ends, and you're walking out, and I just walked up to you and I said, "Hi, I'm Tanya." And so this new person to the industry, and I said, how do I get involved? And that was really the start of our professional connection. And since then, I'm so happy to say I just consider you a wonderful friend, and I'm so excited for everything that you're doing. Since then, we've had quite a few opportunities to work together on collaborations, on projects, on events. And I think the best way to describe my experience with you is through one of my favorite quotes. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. And the way I think that you approach technology and digital transformation in whole, you don't minimize how hard it is. I mean, you're not simplifying it to the fact that you're like, well, if you follow these 5 steps, it's easy. But what you do is you really break it down from complex ideas into simple stories. And I think no matter who's listening to you, we can take those practical steps and add value to our own organizations, to our customers, to our internal team members, et cetera. The other thing that I really like is your passion for planning for the future. So many times we're caught in the chaos. And so you're always considering what is that next best way to be ready for the future. Speaking of that, so one of the most valuable sessions that I think that I participated in, there's those trend scanning sessions. And so Deb would take a group of industry leaders, and we would meet on a monthly basis. And the intent was really just to stop the daily chaos and think about, what does the possibility of tomorrow look like? What does it feel like? What do we need to do to be ready for it? And I was recently talking to a colleague about how I felt I was on this merry-go-round, and it just keeps going faster and faster and faster. And I actually went back in my mind to those trend scanning sessions to say, okay, pause, slow down, because I don't want to risk falling off that ride. And so that is a lesson that I use actually quite frequently. And I think of one of the things that attracted me most about kind of your background was that we're both recovering developers. And so the benefit of that is that you really understand things from the practical perspective, as well as understanding that strategic focus. And I think having that blend together is what makes the topics that you're talking about in your book be so meaningful. And no matter what level of leadership is reading it, you're going to take something away from it. I know, in my career, I have encountered a lot of consultants who have frameworks, they have theories. But I think what I value most is really that practical experience. You know what implementation truly looks like, because you've not only led the change, but then you've been hands-on throughout the process. And that combination, I think, is just absolutely valuable. So last year when you told me you were writing a book, I mean, I was surprised, but I wasn't surprised because you have been such an advocate for innovation and change. And now you just get to be an advocate to the world through this book. Every company is talking about digital change. And if they're not, they're probably not going to be around for long. And I think the other thing that's really unique about this is what you were talking about earlier. It's not technology first. But I think when technology gets involved, people jump to that how. They jump to that. And you really need to consider those human factors. So I'm just so proud of you, Deb. I'm proud of all your accomplishments. I admire your talent for connecting ideas, for bringing people together. And I just want to say congratulations on entering the Tomorrow Zone.
Thank you so much, Tanya. And it's been such a joy to collaborate with you in so many ways over the years. I love your energy, and I just love the spirit that you bring to everything. And you're right, I don't think we have to convince anyone these days that, you know, technology matters and innovation matters, but how do we do it well without, paying a human cost in the process? So that leads me to my final speaker, um, Jen Kronberger. She's the founder and CEO at the Human Leadership Institute and a very valued Tomorrow Zone partner. We've collaborated on client projects and we've interacted in so many ways over the years, encouraging each other in our business journeys. Jen is the sought after author and speaker and inventor of the Brave Human Leadership program, powerful program. And she's a trusted advisor to senior leaders. And her work powerfully bridges performance psychology and the real human experience of change. And so when we are working with a team and we realize that there's something deeper that needs to happen on a cultural and performance psychology level, Jen is my go-to. Jen, I would love to invite you to the stage.
Awesome. Thank you, Deb. So take a nice deep breath, Deb, because today feels sacred. I don't know about you. I have known you the better part of 8 years now, as a collaborator, as a mastermind and thought partner, and to me, most importantly, as a friend. So today feels sacred because I know that this book didn't arrive from theory. It is truly from lived experience, from conversations held in boardrooms and quiet corners, from leaders who have entrusted you with their questions about the future and their uncertainty about how to reach it. I know this because I've been in those boardrooms and corners with you, and I've been lucky enough to have a front row seat to how you work. And I think, Deb, what I admire most about your work is truly the way that you honor complexity without becoming overwhelmed by it. You truly understand that transformation is both strategic and deeply human, that the future asks something of us long before we arrive. In every space you enter, I have watched you do one of the most important things in the human system, and that's create clarity. And I think it's part of your superpower. You listen beneath the words and you notice the energy in the room. I watch you help leaders pause just long enough to see what they're actually building, but most importantly, to really understand who they're becoming while they build it. And I truly believe that in reading Enter the Tomorrow Zone, it carries that same presence. It invites leaders to move forward with awareness and really to recognize that the future isn't some far off destination waiting to be conquered. It's a space that all business owners cross into with courage and intention. You consistently offer leaders a way to step into tomorrow with coherence, where strategy, culture, and human capacity move together. And that's rare. And it is so needed. This book is an invitation. It's an invitation to lead with foresight and depth, to honor the people inside the process. And I personally want to thank you for doing the work that expands how we think about leadership. Thank you for believing that the future deserves thoughtful leaders, because it does. And thank you for always doing it all with such steadiness and grace. So congratulations, my friend. Here's to leading more bravely human and doing it together.
Oh, thank you so much. You're awesome, Jen. Trying to gather myself after that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, that was beautiful. All three of you. And Jen, I hope you have like an audio meditation recording. That was very awesome. Like, it was really lovely. Deb, let's get a group shot with all these amazing people. If you're here in the room and you're willing to be in a group photo, please turn on your camera, sit up a little bit straighter, and look towards the camera, which should be in front of you.
Get
I know.
everybody's here.
Should be in front of you. I'll give you all a moment to reset your cameras, sit up a little taller. If we were in person, I would tell you to get closer together and put your drinks down, but you can stay in your little Zoom bubbles. Just kind of look towards the camera. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, cheese. Saw someone snuck in there right at the last second. You got in there, Kim. Welcome. All right. Back to just the two of us.
Good to see you.
That was great to get a little photo of the energy in this room. So we're almost the end here, but I want to say there's a couple of things. One, you're going to share with people some next steps, but I want to first call back to the 42 reviews that you mentioned at the top of this. And there are some other authors in this room, and they will very happily tell you how hard it is to do that. I know it sounds like not a lot, but it's huge, right? It's like, oh my gosh, it should be 4 times. Yes, but this out of the gate momentum, you're going to clearly hit 50 plus. You're on your way to 100. I absolutely believe that. But we do need those last, 50% of your team who have been thinking about this to do it. So it's Tuesday. No, it's Thursday. Can we by next Tuesday? Can we get a few more reviews? Can we just push this out a little bit further? And so I want to make this as easy as possible, because sometimes when people hear about writing a book review, they think about 4th grade book reports. And they feel like, oh my gosh, I have to read this thing cover to cover and then stand up in front of the room and talk about it. No. You pick up the book and you skim through and you find the parts that speak to you and you go deeper into it. This is going to be a reference book. You're going to keep going back to it, but just get the gist. Answer 2 of the questions that I just posed, and it'll be a really helpful review. It'll help someone else. Just guide them to this book. And then think about who you want to pass the book to. The book is 99 cents. As of today, you can still get it and pass it to a colleague. Buy them a hardcover paperback. You want to do that? Go for it too. All the links are right there. And I also even gave you the direct link to the review page in case you've had some confusion about where to put it. You can't post it on Amazon. You can put it on Goodreads. You can put it on LinkedIn. You can do a LinkedIn recommendation. So many good ways to support what Deborah's doing. And Deborah, how can people stay in touch with you? I know when we started this, that was one of my first questions was, what comes after the book? Mm-hmm. And you've developed a really cool idea for that. So
Yeah. So, I mean, as always, you can reach out to me and I'm happy to hop on a call. So that's the easiest thing. Tomorrowzone.io is our website. But you've heard me say today, clarity first. And, in a world where we've got so much hype and so many things happening so fast, it's more important than ever. And so if you're a senior leader in this room, you're reading my book, you're not engaging with it casually. You're likely making real decisions right now. It could be platform modernization. It could be trying to figure out how to integrate AI into your real business world and situation. It could be a core system shift. It could be an operating model change, decisions that shape budgets, teams, and will shape the next several years of your organization. And I've seen the patterns over and over again. Breakdowns really happen because leaders lack good judgment. They happen when the conditions around that judgment are not strong enough to support it. For instance, if you don't have guiding principles that are fully defined, decision rights are blurry, especially when you get under pressure, or alignment starts strong and then it drifts. And then, complexity increases it and tests it even more. The messy middle of any initiative tests everything. In every arena, people, process, technology, policy. So I want to just offer something specific and related to the book. In April, I am hosting a private virtual roundtable. It's called Before Your Next Move. And it's a readiness roundtable on building shared clarity for digital transformation. And so it's a 2.5-hour virtual private roundtable. And it will be a leadership forum that's focused on how you can build that shared clarity for whatever is next for you. We're keeping it small intentionally. You do need to have to have read the book because we're not going to review concepts. We're going to go deeper and use the shared language from the book to move directly into examining where readiness is strong for you, where it might be thinner than it may appear, or guardrails that may need to be reinforced for you, and how to sustain clarity as complexity increases, as it always does. This type of work for me typically happens within a larger executive engagement, whether it's a strategy intensive, an advisory relationship, or a multi-session engagement like our Catalyst Sprint. But I'm offering this special in April as a focused way to experience that level of thinking in a contained setting, especially in the context of the book launch. So it's going to be a little different from what we usually do. No recording, no vendor conversations, no competitive strategy sharing. The investment is $385. There will also be an option to add on a private 90-minute one-on-one executive readiness architecture review with me. And if that's something you're interested in, it will help you to apply our transformation readiness snapshot directly to your situation and context to strengthen the readiness conditions before you start accelerating things. We're going to finalize the April date based on availability of those who join. If it fills, it fills. If it doesn't, we'll adjust. There's no rush decision required today, but if you're navigating something, some meaningful initiative right now, and you want clarity before your next move, just invite you to type the word clarity in the chat.
People have already started doing that.
Oh, goodness.
And I want to also
Awesome.
say, when we were talking about this, developing this offer, you made a point that this is not something, you just said it, that you offer like this. Like, it's always embedded in
I've
a
never
much
offered
larger
that secret.
contract. Yeah. So it's also, for someone who's worked with you, could be a nice way to get a little primer. And for someone who hasn't worked with you, it's a great way to get started to find out how to apply this. So I bet you'll be in a room with a mix of people who have that experience and don't have that experience working with you. But getting people to buy a book is one thing. Getting people to take action on the book, totally different thing. And this is the kind of next step that will help people move that forward. My recommendation is to bring more than one person from an organization in, so that you're not the only one coming back and talking about it. It's much easier to implement something when there's two of you to discuss an exciting idea. So you have multiple opportunities, and if this one fills up, maybe we'll do others there. But get the word
We'll
clarity.
consider it, but yeah. So
Deborah, to get in touch with you, the details, just raise your hand basically in the chat.
yeah. If you put clarity in the chat, I'll follow up with you personally by email with details and next steps.
That's amazing. So while we're here, let's spin our little prize wheel we've got going here. As David Newman just said in the chat, are you sure you're not missing a zero at the end of that 385? It is quite the offer. Very cool. Nice to see you here, David Newman, fellow author who understands what all this work looks like. So we've got names here on this this spinning wheel. These are all the people who registered as of this morning, minus your team and your speakers. And we're going to spin 5 times to find 5 people who are going to get a signed copy of your book. You'll reach out to them to make sure you have their address correct. Let's find out who these 5 lucky people are.
Oh, wow. Audrey, she had to leave early to go to a board meeting, but we can get the book to her.
Yeah, she'll be very excited to hear
That's
that.
so fun.
Nice.
Hillary. Wow. I think Hillary's here, but she's driving.
You can give some love to the folks by giving some hearts. Let's see who's going to. Oh, there we go, David. After this, we're going to get into a little Q&A. Talk about your questions. I saw there was a question earlier. Someone wanted you to run for president. There was one other question.
Oh, it's Paula. Wow.
This is great. So if you do have a question, you can go ahead and drop it in. We'll put this last name in here. It's funny. These are people who are all very involved in your launch too. So
Wow. Yeah. Thank you so much. We'll get those
amazing.
books out to you shortly.
Yeah. So Deb, there's a lot going on in the world. When you're writing a book, you deeply commit to understanding your craft, but you also have to pay attention to what else is happening in the world so that you can figure out how your book sort of fits into this ongoing conversation. So when you're looking at that and thinking about innovation and technology across all these different organizations, what are you seeing? Like, what is on the horizon? What's happening in the moment? How should we be thinking about it?
Oh my gosh. Well, there's a lot going on. I mean, you can't spit in any direction without hitting something about an AI acceleration or advance that's blowing your mind. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. I think that there are definitely patterns to what I'm seeing as I look out across the world of business. When it comes to innovation and technology, for sure, it's AI acceleration. There isn't a day that goes by that we're not talking about this. I started messing around with AI intentionally in my own business in 2016, and it has only like gone crazy since then, and it's moving so fast. And so I think that we're at an inflection point now, though, where leaders are not as much having to be convinced that AI is here and that it's happening. I mean, I used to be in rooms with executives that would say, I don't think anybody's using AI in our industry. And I would show up, well, here's 100 use cases. But I think we're past that now. I think people have gotten the message. It's an everyday thing, and it is impacting us now, and it will continue to impact us in ways that we just don't know. And there's still the human factor that we have to consider, because we're seeing different job roles becoming commoditized, and we're seeing AI doing things that we used to think could only be done by humans. But it's also causing a lot of intensity. It's causing decision fatigue, decision drift. We're seeing a lot of investment pressure to act before getting clarity or true, honest readiness. And that gets people into trouble. And we see those stories in the headlines of adopting too fast without thinking through the human side of these things. And, it is good to experiment and explore. But a lot of the work we do is in the finance industry. And that's a world where we can't use the Silicon Valley method of move fast and break things. We have to innovate within a real constraint. And so, I think that one of the other things I see is false starts, and that gets back to clarity first, then technology, and that doesn't mean you have to take 6 months to get ready. Sometimes it's just a pause and honest conversations to get ready. But it's still the same things, and I don't know what's going to come after AI, but I think we're still going to have the same human factors to consider.
I'm going to stay off camera while I ask you this question. What does it look like when you're thinking about leading through all this disruption? A lot of times we're just reacting to it. So what would it look like to know that you're leading, not just reacting or overreacting to the moment of disruption?
That starts with thorough, not surface level, thorough diagnosis before prescription. I think too often we want to just sprinkle AI on it, sprinkle technology on it. And it always reminds me of that movie, The Big Fat Greek Wedding, where the dad, his answer to everything was spray Windex on it. Too often we're looking for quick solutions, but often we're looking for solutions to the wrong problem. And so that's where getting clarity on what is it that we really need to solve? What is the problem that we're really facing? I ran into this quote that's attributed to Einstein, and he said something like, if I had an hour to save the world, I would spend most of that time framing the problem, maybe the last 5 minutes actually executing on the solution. And I think that these days is kind of a lost art, because we're rushing into the technical solution before we're getting real clarity on not only the right problem to solve, but why. Why does it matter to invest in solving that problem, and what is the impact on the people involved. And so what it looks like to lead through disruption with intention rather than reacting to it, it really is that pause for clarity, because that, even though it counterintuitively feels like it's pulling you back, it's an accelerator.
So a couple more questions, including one from the chat. For leaders who want to build that kind of capability that you're just describing, like, what does it look like to actually work with you to achieve that?
So it takes a lot of different forms. Sometimes it starts with a keynote that sparks new thinking and shared language within your team. Sometimes it's a catalyst sprint engagement, and that's our signature engagement where we're actually taking a cross-functional team through a structured and proven process to break down silos, to generate shared understanding. We're actually co-creating clarity about the honest current state of things and getting clear on the future that you want to shape before a major transformational investment. Sometimes it's strategic working sessions with executive teams before a major transformational systems investment, or it can be ongoing advisory and executive steering for those leaders who are navigating transformational initiatives or executing on their roadmap. So there's a lot of different ways that we bring this thinking to the table, but usually it's in the form of speaking and workshops or consulting engagements or strategic advisory consulting for those who really are a mindset fit.
So there's a really lovely question here from Joel, and he asks, Deb,
Hi,
what's
Joel.
been at the cutting edge of your professional and personal growth?
What has been at the cutting edge of my personal and professional growth? Well, lately it's been this whole experience of writing the book. Because, I mean, Joel, you and I have talked for years. I mean, I met you when you were doing crazy blockchain stuff that nobody could even understand, and we've always been curious and willing to experiment and try new things, and connecting with people, connecting with new ideas. That has always been a part of my growth journey. But when I took on and committed to writing this book, it really forced me to connect with myself in a deep and honest way and try to crystallize into words what we were doing and why. And I mean, I always knew that intuitively because I was doing it. But, if you were to ask a fish, how's the water? They're probably going to say, what is this water you speak of? And so trying to get words to that experience for me was, I think, one of the biggest boosts in my own growth just over the past year.
Nice. Any closing?
That was an awesome question too. I love it.
It was a great question, and we didn't plant it. That was a really good one. Any final thoughts before we wrap up the formal part of the program?
From me?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I actually, you know what? I did have something and I got overexcited. So I just want to grab my note because I want to nail this. But, this day and getting to this day was a long and tough journey. Many of you were there encouraging me through it or just experiencing my craziness as I was dealing with it. And whether you're here in this room or you're listening to us on replay, I just want to leave you with this. Take a breath. There's a lot of noise right now. There's a lot of urgency, especially around technology and AI. And there's a lot of fear being monetized out there. And I just want you to shift your thinking for a moment. What if you're not behind, you're not late, and you're not alone? We do need to be eyes wide open about what's possible with AI and emerging technology, but speed alone is not the answer. Clarity is. And the leaders who I believe are going to thrive in this next chapter, they're not the ones that are buying the most tools. They're the ones that are thinking clearly before they commit themselves and their teams and their resources to moving ahead. They're the ones that are truly aligning before they accelerate. And they're executing with intention rather than reaction. And I know from experience, this is both learnable and it's doable. And whether you start just by reading the book, bringing this conversation to your own team in some way, or inviting me into your organization, or simply just ask some new and better questions tomorrow morning. You don't have to let the future happen to you. You shape it. You shape it by the actions that you take and by the decisions that you make today. And so I just want to encourage you, lean in, stay curious, choose to. Thank you so much. Well, I hope that you enjoyed that as much as I did. Such an exciting time for us at Tomorrow Zone. I'm so excited about the launch of my book. And thank you for tuning in. You can find the book on Amazon.com. Just look for Enter the Tomorrow Zone. As always, I encourage you to stay curious and choose to make awesome happen.